think I am live. Oh, is someone already here? I got to figure out how to find these things because let me turn this down. There, that's better. That's better because there's someone I follow and I want to catch his live streams and I can never catch them until after they've started for a couple minutes. I need to know how to find these things right away. So someone's here. If you'd like to chat and introduce yourself, that would be great. And I've learned that you can't chat unless you have a YouTube account. You have to have a YouTube account. And I've also learned that my microphone is not connecting to Zoom, to the YouTube live stream very well. So I've got to figure those two things out. So my piano's not coming across like I would like it to. I learned that the last time. I wonder if the one person is me. I think I'm the only one here now. Someone was here a second ago. Hello. Hi, Sean. Yay, it's working. I'm so happy. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Well, it looks like it's just the two of us. Do you have any questions? May is here. Hi, May. Yay. I'm so excited. This is awesome. I have two people. I'm happy. Does anyone have any questions? Someone last time said that they wanted me to go over tuning the bass, and I thought I would do that this time. But then I found out my sound wasn't coming across very well. So I can go over that a little bit, but I can't like do it in real time because my sound isn't working. What do you think of the Travis Grabau temper? I don't know it. I would have to see it. I don't know. I think most temperaments are just fine. So the way I learned concepts about tuning and what Rick Butler likes to call interval relationships. If you learn interval relationships and how they interact well, you can use any temperament you want. It doesn't matter. Oh, John Travis. The Guide to Restringing book. Okay. John Travis knows a lot. Anything he writes is probably quite good. I'm just not familiar with that particular temperament, but I have no doubt it's good. If you understand the basics, like all the basics, not just a little bit, but all the basics, any temperament can work because you can add in all kinds of checks as you go. You don't have to be rigid with any particular temperament and not include checks that you know. So any temperament's just fine. Even I used to be against up a fifth, down a fourth. I'm not anymore because I've realized if you know all the basics, any temperament will work just fine. So if no one has a specific question, I can talk about the bass. Otherwise, does anyone have a question? There's only two of you. May, I'm still working on the treble. We can talk about the treble a little bit. My treble's out of tune, but since you won't be able to hear my piano well, it won't matter anyway. He's up a third, down a fifth. Oh, I know that. Yeah, I know people who love that. Still don't really have it down. Okay, well, I might just tune my treble today. I know it's out of tune. Well, you won't hear it. I can go over it some more. I'm going to get my microphone working to where next time I can actually tune the piano live because the microphone isn't picking it up. I found that out when I listened to my video. If I record on my phone or my computer, the sound is great. If I live stream, the sound is it's terrible. So I'll have to look into settings and see if there's a noise suppression that's there that I don't know about, stuff like that. Up a third, down a fifth. I know people who tune that way. I am not a fan of starting out with thirds personally. That's just my personal thing. Other people love it. You know, if it works for you, use it. If it doesn't, don't. I do better when I start out with fifths, mostly fifths, fourths, and then go into the fast beating intervals. I do better personally, you know, but I know Rick Butler starts out with thirds, fifths and thirds. I know people who've passed their exam with thirds starting out that way, and they do great. You know, it's whatever floats our boat. Is it up a third, up a third. I think it's down a fifth. Let me go on the piano. Bill Bremmer. Yeah. Bill Bremmer has a trick. I can talk about that. Let me point this at my piano, and I'm going to work on getting a screen in screen so I can have a picture on my keyboard and still be able to look at everybody. So, okay. Well, let's talk about those two things. That'll be good. There I am. Oh, don't do that to me. There. Nope, it's going to be difficult. There. Da-da-da. Whoops. A little more light. I can do this. The troubles of live work. So I don't know how this is going to sound on your end. So what were we going to do? Okay, so let's see. Up a third, down a fifth. See? Up a third, down a fifth. Up a major third, down a fifth. Like that. And so what you would do with this one, I've never used this one, but I know of it. So what you would do is you'd start out with your contiguous thirds. And if Rick were doing it, he'd probably do this and just go ahead and set, some not counting on this, but just to give you an idea. This should be 7 beats a second. And this should be, 9? Yeah, 9. Yeah, 7, 9, 11, thereabouts. So 7 and 9. And then you go down a fifth. Okay. But then up a major third. Now, this was 7. This needs to be 7.5. So if you're here and you've tuned this F sharp, you can tune this to be a little faster and just don't completely trust it yet. But up a major third. Now, here, what do you have? You have a fourth. You can check this fourth right off the bat. If it's wrong, guess what? You have to go back and fix things. But so I've gone up a third. Now I go down another fifth. And let's see now. Do I have anything else I can check yet? Not yet, unless I'm just not seeing it. Up a major third. What do we have here? We have this fourth. Okay, so you're going up a major third, but you have this fourth to check. So you can check that. If it's wrong, go back and fix it. And I don't love this, but it's totally doable if you get comfortable with it. So up a major third, down a fifth. Now what do we have? We have a fourth. Okay. And then after this fourth, we have, let's see, what do we just tune? Here. Up a major third. So here we now have a fifth and a fourth. And then we're up a major third, and we've got another fifth and a fourth. So you just keep going up a third, down a fifth, and keep that going and troubleshoot as you go. So that's that temperament, I believe, or thereabouts. Bill Bremmer. So Bill Bremmer, I actually have a video on this already, but let me talk about it real quick. Bill Bremmer, he uses contiguous thirds, but what he does is he takes this C sharp and tunes it down an octave. All right. And there's a couple ways to do this, and I've seen him do it both ways. I don't know what his favorite way is right now, but you tune this octave to be around a 6/3, approximately. Close. And then slow, medium, fast. Just like slow, medium, fast. If you go slow, medium, fast here, you can get your F to A closer. It needs to be in the middle of those. And then slow, medium, fast. So you're basically, but what he will do is he will move his C sharps, both, keeping the octave good. He'll move both of them down until these are equal beating. If you can get all three of these equal beating and your octave good at about a 6/3, then this F to A is going to be pretty much spot on. There's exceptions to that, but only on really horrible pianos. So that's how you can set that FA and get it really good right from the beginning. Where I see a particular value with this is if you can do it quickly. That's the problem. On the exam or on any situation where you want A to be 440, you can tune your A octave. I would make it a 4/2. Make those equal beating. That would be a 4/2 octave, A to A. And then then A is your anchor note. That's the note you're not going to change while you set F. So you're going to move your C sharps and your F, but not the A, until these are equal beating. Then you have F to A solid with your A at 440. And that kind of guarantees you a 440. I like Jim, Sean says, I like Jim Coleman and George Defabaugh. Baugh? I don't know how to say that. I know that name though, but I don't like the banging on the piano. Oh, you'll have to tell me what you mean by that. Jim Coleman is a very famous tuner. He was very generous with a lot of his time, with a lot of people teaching. George Defabaugh, I've heard the name, but I don't know him. I'm not a fan of banging on the piano either, and that we talked about that last time. And both the good and the bad thing about banging is you can get a lot of stability with that. So the good thing is you can get a lot of stability. The bad thing is it's so easy to get a lot of stability that people don't learn to do it other ways. And a lot of tuners, if they don't wear hearing protection, can really damage their hearing doing that. And I've been working very, very hard at being able to tune. Oh, I didn't realize I didn't have some of my temperament strip in. Hold on. I got to get my temperament strip back in here. I took it out earlier. Okay, there I am. I've been on a quest to try to tune stable without banging, and it has taken me, let's see, it took me about 4 years to really do it successfully. And even now, I feel like I'm still learning. I'm still wrapping my head around it. I'm successful, but I'm not really where I want to be yet. I'm almost there, I think. Will we ever get there? Probably not, but we try. So let's see. So do we want to talk about bass, treble, or something else? May wants to talk about treble, I think. Unless you want to talk to me about Jim Coleman and George Defabaugh. Any thoughts? Wait, I got 6 people here now. Who else is here? Say hello in the chat thread. If you can't comment because you don't have an account, Sean is flexible. Thank you. If you can't comment because you don't have a YouTube account, I'm going to put my phone number if you're in the United States. Hold on 1 second. I'm putting my phone number in the text thread. You can text me if there's anything you want to talk about that you can't put there. So any votes for bass or treble first? Maybe I'll do both. I know my treble's out. Let me talk about the treble, and then I'll talk about up high. All right. Hello. Okay. I'm close to and tune up to A, I think, but above this, I'm definitely not. So let me see. Let me see where my A is. That's real close. This might be a hair flat, but it's very close. Can anyone hear the beats? Because when I listened to my video, I couldn't hear the beats. Somebody text me and tell me if you can hear them. You can? Oh, that's great. Greetings from Latvia. Hi. That's so exciting. You can hear them. Oh, well, this is great. Okay, so we can hear them live. That's good. I could not hear them on the video playback. The person from Latvia, I do not know how to say your name. Clavieru? I probably just hacked it, but hello. Okay, well, let's talk about going up. All right, going up for me is not like going down at all. I keep it very simple. I keep it close to 4 to 2 octaves. So let me see how off I am up here. That's slowed down. So that's probably flat. This one might be sharp. This is definitely flat. Yeah. Woo! That sounds funny. Okay, I'm going to drop down an octave and keep going here. Hear the difference there? Slower, faster, slower, too fast, too slow. These are too slow. That's speeding up again. Woo! So I'm all over the place. That's moving. I heard a text. Oh, that's not from Peoples. I'm getting a shimmering now. And that note shimmers all by itself. Let's see. That didn't sound that bad to me, that top octave. So what I'm going to do, let's see. So that's obviously sharp. Did I say it was sharp or flat? Yeah, it was sharp. Okay. So let me bring that down. I don't want to spend the whole time tuning. Let me see if anyone said anything here. How is the cyber tip? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. The cyber tip. So this was asked in the last video. And one thing I didn't mention was another tip. So I'll mention it this time. The cyber tip is good. I like it. I don't know how much better it is than the Taffian. The Taffian is really good. I've heard a lot of people, they say they like this one a lot better. I don't like it less, but I don't like it a lot better. I like it about the same as the Taffian, Taffjin. And I forgot to mention yawn tips, Jahn, yawn. Those are also very, very good. Yawn, Taffian, and Rayburn, to me, are all very, very good tips. I don't really have a preference right now between those, but I know a lot of people really, really like this one. So I hope that answers your question. Are they calling it a cyber tip? That's really funny if they are. Okay, so this is sharp. What I don't know if I want to tune. What I'll start doing, up until about this C, I'm going to be tuning fifth, fourth, major thirds a little bit, but mostly tenths. And I'm still going to check sixth up until about C. Once I'm here, let's see. I'm going to start doing this. That's too slow. See, I'd raise that. Too slow. All these need to come up. Where am I? And I'll tune this way up until I get to anywhere in here. Depends on what I've done down here, but definitely by A. I'm going to go back down to F3. I'm going to go. I'm going to compare all three of them, but I'm going to focus on these two. And I don't have a sostenuto pedal. Where's my weight? Here's my weight. So I have, oops, I bumped my light. I have my little key weight that I like. So, see, that way my right hand can be on my tuning lever. Whoops, where am I? And then as I move up, I'm going to start to focus. There, see, I need to raise this one a lot. So, like that. These all need to come up. I'm going to make these real close to equal beating here. I'm going to keep that going basically as high as I can hear it. Ooh, let me find that one. My gosh, that's so hard to hear up there. think that's still flat. Closer, 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 closer. It's hard to hear. Whoops, 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 whoops. That might be sharp. Yeah, just a little. Ah, now it's flat. So here on this piano, I'm going to start tuning octaves. And I don't really have, oh, let me show you something. Hold on. Where's my key? Hold on, I'm getting off the end of the piano here. Okay, so here I've got an octave. Did I tune that sharp? Hold on, hold on, hold on. I think I'm flat. I'm gonna leave it there for a minute. Okay, so I have an octave, and I can go to a 12th, and then a triple octave. They should all be pretty quiet. I'm not happy with that. I think this is flat. I believe it's flat. It's flat. Okay, so the octave, the 12th, and the triple octave should be pretty quiet. If one of them is more noisy, it gives you some information, because the triple octave is actually getting a little narrow, whereas the single octave should be wide. So if the triple octave is quieter than the single octave, then if the rest is in tune, which it's not, then the what did I just say? If the triple octave is more quiet than the single octave, then the note is sharp. If the single octave is more quiet than the triple octave, then the note is flat. They should sound about the same amount of quietness. And then with the 12th, it's also narrow, so the same thing applies. If the 12th is noisier than the single octave, it's probably flat, and vice versa. So you can use that as you go up as well. I have been told that if you arpeggiate and it sounds in tune, that it is flat. So you should tune it to where it sounds slightly flat, and then when you play it together, it should sound good. But May, I know May, and she's been playing around with that, and it's not necessarily been working. So I'm having second thoughts on that, what I was told. Quiet. So activity, quiet. Let's see here. I'm gonna tune a fifth. That's very noisy. So, beats, no beats. Whoops, sharp. I don't want any beats. So let me do this. Okay. That's a little noisy. So I might still be flat. So this is getting noisy now. I'm feeling vibrations from it. I'm feeling dirt. I'm feeling beats. But This is now cleaner sounding. So it's probably sharp. But my piano's not in tune, so it's not the best judge. But that's all I've got for the treble. I know a lot more about the bass than the treble. So yes, wavering, no beat. Yes, Sean. That's exactly what I mean. No beating, no wavering. As still as you can get it. Stillness, like a still pond. Oh, Dolly. I'm here, but not for much due to my rehearsal. Hi, Dolly. Yay. My lack of success is most likely user error and limited practice. That's what May says. I got news for you, May. Tuning the treble is hard. It's hard. It's just hard. I'm going to talk about the bass. I'm better at the bass anyway. And I told someone I would talk about this, so I'm going to get it on video here, even if I don't tune. All right. So are there any questions? I can't really answer a lot of questions about the treble because I just don't have as much information about it. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns? Onsi, I don't know how to say your name, but hello. Are there any interval checks for higher octaves where you don't have to use both hands to play the interval? Oh, no. Greetings from Finland. How cool. Hi. Other than playing single octaves, most people can't hear major thirds or sixths up there. So let's see. I doubt I can hear them. No, there's no point. Where was I? No, but what you do is you can have a weight and you can tune. You want all these to be quiet. You want all of those to be as smooth, no beats as possible. All of those things. And the single. Did I do the single octave? Yeah. And the same. Just as quiet as you can get them. That's all I got. Yeah. But I have a little bit more for the bass. Although the same problem is going to happen here. We're going to need my weight because I'm going to start getting into bigger intervals. So if I'm tuning downward. Let's say my octave is good. I know I'm close. So let's go with that. I usually don't listen to an octave first, but you can do octave, but fifth, fourth, I'm going to measure them. Okay. That's a decent fifth. There's room for this E to come down, but it doesn't have to. Let's see what the fourth sounds like. That's noisy. Oh, that's fifth. Oh, wait. That's a noisy sounding fifth for being that close to in tune. Okay. I still think that E can come down a little. It could come down a little. Okay, so here's why I believe that. I'm going to do some more checks in a minute here. But here's why I think the E can come down. Major thirds have to get slower. It does. All right. Minor thirds also have to get slower. Kind of does. The beauty, I'm going to put E out of tune for a second. I want to show you something. Major third, minor third. Minor third has to be faster than major third, but both have to progress. If I lower this E, I speed up the major third and I slow down the minor third. Okay, so I'm going to put it out of tune. Maybe. Those are close to equal beating right now. So this is quite flat. And then the other one is minor third, major sixth. The sixth must be slower. And these play against each other because the sixth is a wide interval. So if I lower E, it gets faster. But if I lower E, the minor third gets slower. It gives you a solid bottom limit you have to stay above. So I'm going to retune E, comparing minor third, major sixth. This piano has so much friction. I'm trying to get the E to come down just a little more, and it's not. So the E needs to come down, and it's not gonna. Oh, there it went. Now it needs to come back up. Okay, so that's in a decent spot. Oh, a 6th progresses well. There we go. So when I go down, I do 5th, 4th, major 3rd, minor 3rd, major 6th, and then progressing 6th. And I'll do that as far down as I can hear them. Well, no, I'll do that until I get to probably F2. Because once I get here, I've got tenths. So I'm going to start using tenths instead of major thirds. Oh, let me look at questions here. Sean says, so the minor third, major third, 6 is... No, it's not equal beating. It's not equal beating. The minor third has to stay faster than the 6. So there's a range there it can be. But if you're lowering this E and these start to get close to equal beating, you know you're going too far. So it's a bottom and stopping point. It has to stay faster. This has to stay faster. Equal beating. Let's look at an equal beating thing here. Here's my 6th. This major third and this 6 should be equal beating. Let me put it on all white keys so you can see it more easily. So the outer 6th and the inner major third is step up from the bottom. Those are equal. Hey, Maggie, happy to see you again. Hi, Thomas. Hello. Onsi, I hope I'm saying your name right. So you don't use octaves just under the temperament area? Wait, so you do? Oh, no. No. I understand what you're asking now. No, absolutely not. No. Because you need everything to work. There's a big range you can place an octave going down. And just looking at an octave from coincident partials. Okay, let's say I'm tuning C. All right, let's say I make this a 6-3. But let's say that's sharp. Let's say this piano isn't ready for a 6-3 yet, and I make this a 6-3 octave. I could end up with a pure or a wide 5th. I could end up with a 4th that's too wide. I could end up with a 6th or a major 3rd that speeds up. We don't want to just tune octaves. Never. Octave, I check it, but it's the last thing I check. So let me see where this octave is. It's wide of a 4-2. It's narrow of a 6-3. That's beautiful. So that's good. That's a good question. Yeah, I never tune out with octaves. I use an octave as a check. If my octave's off, I know something's really wrong somewhere. And it might not be the octave. It's probably not the octave. I probably messed something else up. So going out, the octave as a check will let you know if another note you're tuning from is off. So that's really handy. So let's say I've used the method I just used here. Now I know this is sharp, but let's say I'm down to F2. So now I've got more. Ooh, that sped up, didn't it? That is very sharp. That is very, very sharp, probably, depending on the rest. I haven't tuned everything thoroughly. So, So I'm going to keep doing 5th, 4th, but I'm going to be using tenths instead of major thirds. I won't be using minor thirds as much now, but absolutely you can. Because the lower you go, the easier they are to hear. I don't use an octave from a minor third yet. No, okay, I can hear that on this piano. On some pianos, I can't hear it. So if I can hear it, I'll use it. So major third plus an octave, minor third plus an octave, And what I'm going to do if I'm tuning this note is go like this. And now my hand is free. So fifth, fourth, to get it in the ballpark, checking my tenths and minor tenths in this case. I don't always do that. Some pianos I don't even bother with that in here because they're too hard to hear. I can't believe I can hear it on this piano. That's great. And then I keep doing sixths for quite a while. So sixths need to get slower. And the lower you get, the less of a change you want. The lower you get, the closer you want them to equal beating as you go. Otherwise, the bottom pushes too far down. You get too much stretch, and other things are going to sound bad up high. So be careful how far you push it. Let me think. And obviously, like I said, check your octaves. Check them. You know, make sure they're within a range. And the lower you go, the closer they should be to 6/3 or even bigger. Now, once I get down lower, I actually don't use octaves hardly at all. And I might listen to them just to make sure they're okay. But I pay attention to octaves way less down here. Double octaves, 12ths, triple octaves, stuff like that. More and 17th. So once I'm down lower, wait a minute. There we are. Once I'm down low, I'm going to be up here. This is really uneven. And once I get probably anywhere in here, it depends on the piano. If it starts to get hard to hear, I'm going to do an octave and a minor seventh. Okay, so these also have to progress. My bass is off, but it's not as far off as I thought it was going to be. And I will compare the 10th to the octave minor seventh. And I'll take that down as far as I can. On some pianos, you can get it all the way to A. On some, you really can't. Right at this very bottom, if you're having trouble hearing, you can add. Wait, some people said some things. Oh, May, that's a good question. You said that as you get lower, sixth can be closer to equal beating. Is that true for all progressing intervals? I meant it for all of them. Yes, 100%. They should be have fun tuning. So for May, yes, all the intervals should get closer to equal as you go down. Mainly you don't want them to speed up. They should not speed up. But if you get a big jump where it's suddenly slower, that's a red flag. Have fun tuning Bosendorfer Imperial. Actually, I've never done that. I would like to sometime. That would be wild. So if I was tuning one of those, or on the lowest part of here, I would then switch to a tritone in an octave. For the bottom, I started a little high. And if I have trouble hearing there, I will use 6, minor 6, octave minor third. I wonder if I can do this. No. Sorry, I got carried away with myself here. So octave and a sixth. You can hear it. And you can sometimes octave and minor sixth. That's going to be really fast down here. The problem with the minor sixth is you have to remember it's a narrow interval. And you have to treat it like a minor third. Minor sixth, minor third. They're narrow. When you lower it, it slows down. So you have to be careful with those. Tritone. The only problem with the tritone is there's 2 coincident partials. The first one is wide. The second one is narrow. So you have to make sure you're accessing the wide one. But it's the loudest one. It sticks out. I've not had a problem with it. I just know it potentially could be a problem, but I haven't had a problem yet. So I know a lot more about bass tuning. Yeah, and at the end, I will listen to 12ths a lot. I'll listen to octaves and double octaves and triple octaves, but I pay more attention to 12ths just because that's what I feel like I hear better for quiet intervals. Make sure your octaves, double octaves, triple octaves, 12ths are all quiet. They need to be quiet down here. And the same thing applies as up high, but you need to kind of ghost it to hear it. So single octave, 12th, double octave, triple octave, those all need to be equally quiet. And what I'll do is I'll ghost them. So I'll hold these down. Bad. Let's see. Yeah, this is not in tune. And then triple octave, although that's quiet. So this is probably flat. It's probably flat because my triple octave was the quietest. But wait a minute. Let me see. Let me use. Everything's so out of tune that I can't use those to compare. It has to be in tune up higher to really, for all this to work. Progression has to move slower. What do you do if you see that the progression is not even? That's the goal, is to get it even. So the way I'm tuning right now, what I will do is, I think the best way to explain it is to explain how I cross the break. So let me answer that question first, then I'll talk about the break. So open another bottle of wine, of course. Yes. The more you drink, the better the piano sounds. Absolutely. That's funny, Sean. Okay. So if it's uneven, then I move the note. I make it even. Now, let's say I've moved this C to where my 17ths are progressing nicely, but now let's say my 12th is yucky. That means I have a problem. If I that was good. If I want my quiet intervals to be quiet, that's my goal. And if I'm not in a hurry, like if I were doing a concert tuning, I would start looking at the notes up higher to see what is wrong. So if I'm comparing this and that's progressing, I might go back and revisit these notes and make sure they're correct. Check up here again. And I'll compare it with other things. So like let's say one progression of interval gets slower and another one gets quicker. I'm going to check the upper notes that I'm measuring from. May, pouring myself a glass of wine as we speak. Oh boy, I'm going to sound awesome to May. Yay! Okay, so where was I? I need a glass of wine. No. Yeah. So if I have two intervals that don't agree, I'll use a third fast progressing interval and see if 2 out of the 3 agree, and that will help me narrow down what's wrong up high. Now, if I'm in a hurry and I'm not doing a concert tuning, what I usually do is try to kind of place it in between where everything is. So if one says it's getting faster, another says it's getting too slow, I'll try to slow down the one that's faster without slowing down the other one too much. I will try to keep my 12ths quiet, but I might even push one a little wide if I have to get things to be quiet. Thomas, in my time learning piano builder, my teacher told me that the temperament is really important. It's very important. If you're here in chat are sometimes wondering why, maybe it will help you checking the temperament. Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good point. If I'm coming down and I hurt my wrist. If I'm coming down and things aren't agreeing, I'm going to go back and check up high. And another reason, other than just being easier to hear, another reason you switch to tenths instead of major thirds and 17ths is because you're accessing your higher notes closer to the temperament. You want everything to go back to the temperament. If I'm just tuning octaves going down, by the time I'm at the bottom, I'm going to be so far off from where the temperament is that the coincident partials, oh God, that sounded terrible. The coincident partials, just like this, are not going to line up. So yeah, that's a really good point. I hope I understood you correctly. So in response to that same question, what do you do? Let me talk about the break a little bit. So I tune, this piano isn't so bad, I don't think. But let me go over this a second. Hold on. Hold on. Give me just a minute. I'm gonna tune some notes here. Whoops. Come on. Ah! It's too flat. I'm gonna leave it there. It's close. Two more notes. Bear with me. Hang with me here. I can't show you something until I get all this closer to in tune. Up. And I'm not measuring my fifths and fourths here because when I'm comparing them, when I'm comparing them, I know whether they're wide or narrow by how they're falling. So I'm not measuring them right now. One more note. And this note is really hard to tune because it sticks. So I don't know how I'm going to do here. Hold on. Come on. Okay, this is a really good example. All right. So what I have here is I am not only across my break, I'm at my first wound string. Wait a minute. Let me read some things. Sean says, yes, that is the password for admittance, but what is the password for the house? Okay. Was that meant to be typed here? All right. So what I have here, let me measure my fifth. Ooh, see? That's almost pure. All right, now. Woo! That's almost inverted. Eyes wide shut joke. Oh, I don't know that. Okay, sorry, I missed it. Okay, so here I'm at my first wound string. I have a sudden shift in inharmonicity, which means if I tune, well, in this case, it might work. I'm going to have to compromise my fifth and fourth in order to get everything to work. Okay, right now, I think I need to raise this a little bit, but let me see here. Yeah, and then, See how much slower that is? And then here. But now listen. See how close those are? That's another red flag to me. And there could be something wrong up here too. So I don't know if I want to lower that. I think that almost speeds up that sixth, which I don't want, but I think I would go for making my fifth and fourth both pure. Everyone says, well, you're sacrificing your fifth and fourth if they're pure, but you're not. This is the one chance you actually have to tune a fifth and fourth to be beautiful. Fifths and fourths are compromised in an equal temperament. Here, all of a sudden, because of an inharmonicity shift, I get to tune them both pure. That's awesome. I think it's cool. The problem is your fast beating intervals. You have to, let me check my octave. I haven't even checked the octave yet. It's not bad. Okay. That's a 6/3 octave. So my octave's fine. I don't have to worry about that. Let me check my fourth again. I'm going to make this fourth pure. Now let me check my fifth. I don't want to make the fifth wide. Okay, I think my fifth and fourth are both pure. Let me go back up here. There you go. It's sped up, see? And I'm going to leave it. So it's speeding up. I'm going to cross the break. What I would normally do on a lot of pianos, I can slow this down by bringing this up a little, and that will usually make my fourth pure, because this, to slow down the 10th, I would bring this up, but the fourth is usually wide at this point. In this case, my fourth is already pure. So my limit for where I can slow down my fast beating intervals is a pure fourth. Once that fourth is pure, I don't bring it up anymore, and my octave is good. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let it speed up there. I hope that made sense. So when I'm crossing a break, sometimes I can get my fast beating intervals to progress nicely by making that fourth pure. Sometimes the fifth is a little extra narrow. My limit with a fifth is a beat a second. Once it's a beat a second, I don't bring up the lower note anymore. Can I do the B? I did. The B flat octave. And I measured it, 6/3. That might be a little narrow, 6/3. I may have measured it wrong. It's definitely wide of 4/2. So it's definitely wide of 4/2. So my octave's fine. I'm not worried about the octave. I'm worried about all the other intervals. So fifth, fourth are pure. That's it. I'm leaving it. If I really thought the piano could do better, this piano can't do better. But if I thought it could do better, I would go back and review my other notes above it. But I'm not gonna. This is it. So that's how I deal with crossing the break. And on different pianos, it comes out differently. Let me see if I can get this right in my head now. I always get this backwards. So if the inharmonicity on this note goes sharp, that means when I tune a fifth and a fourth pure, the fast beating intervals will slow down. Wait. Will slow down. Yeah. So if there's a drop in inharmonicity and the partial series above this note, but does someone notice that it is while playing? I'll get to that, Thomas. I think so, but let me explain how much. Some people know, they definitely don't notice. Yeah, if there's a drop in inharmonicity and I make fifths and fourths nice and quiet and octaves quiet, then the fast beating intervals will speed up. So that's what's happening here. There's a sudden drop in inharmonicity, and I have to deal with that. Now, while playing, let's talk about a spinet. All right. Let's say I have this situation on a lesser piano and we come down. That's sped up. On a lesser piano, that the break is going to be up here, like in your temperament octave. Sometimes I've tuned a G to G temperament, or even an A to A, to avoid that in my temperament, because I don't want to deal with it. But I have done a temperament with that in it, and I can get it to work. But anyway, so let's say the first wound string is E. Let's say the first wound string is E, and let's say there's a sudden drop here on a spinet, on a short scale piano. This can suddenly beat, you know, more than 10 times a second, suddenly, you know. And honestly, a player's going to notice. They do notice that. So I try to compromise. If a fifth or fourth is pure, they're going to love it. So, no. It depends on the piano. On this piano, no, they're not going to notice what I just did. That was Thomas. Let's see. On C, when learning to tune early, one of the hardest things to learn is that everything is compromised. Yes, compromised, even the so-called pure octave. Oh, this is a good point. Okay, so octave. I like to talk about this. In equal temperament, everything is compromised. Yes. Well, let me address that first. Yes, everything is compromised. I hate equal temperament. I don't like how it sounds. So all my tunings, even though I think they're good or they're okay, at least, I don't like any of them. I just don't like it. But I'm not tuning for me. I'm tuning for the customer. So that's what matters. But an interesting point about temperament. If I had no inharmonicity, let's say I'm tuning an organ that has almost no, let's say I'm tuning an organ with only flue pipes, no other kind of pipe, only flue pipes. So there's almost no inharmonicity at all. And we don't have to make compromises for different reed pipes and stuff like that. And I tune this octave. I can tune it literally pure at every coincident partial. There's no inharmonicity. So on that instrument, we don't have to compromise our octave. And their temperament is very different from ours. Their fifth and their fourth are both a little bit less than a beat a second. Both of them, they're equally tempered. Whereas on a piano, our fifth is tempered closer to pure and our fourth is tempered wider. Everything is wider on a piano. Everything is wider. So the fifth is tempered closer to pure because it's a narrow interval and it has to be wider. The fourth is already wide, and so it's wider. Everything is wider. Octaves are wide on the piano because we're dealing with inharmonicity. So on a piano, the reason we can't tune an octave pure, and we can't, except at a coincident partial, is because of inharmonicity, not because of temperament. And a lot of people get that mixed up. I have actually gotten it mixed up once on accident in a video, and I'm ashamed of myself. But that, we're piano tuners. It's how we think. We don't think of pure octaves. We think of an octave can only be pure at one coincident partial. But yeah, you're compromising your octaves everywhere. And I use the flexibility of an octave and fifths and fourths. I use that flexibility to get my other intervals to sound beautiful, because a quiet octave is going to sound good regardless of which coincident partial it's lined up with, as long as all the other intervals work as well, And if the other intervals work, your octaves are going to come out good. They just will. They'll come out good. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Tuning is an adventure. It's an adventure. So anywho, let me put this. I'm getting used to this. I'm going to get two cameras eventually, but right now we're right now we're dealing with Maggie on basic stuff here. Jacob, hello Jacob. Do you always use the minor third, major third, 6/4 test for the fifth? Oh, that's a really good question. Let me talk about that. Hi. That's a really good question. I almost always use the minor third, major third, but let me explain why. Because there's a good reason for it. I think this is my opinion. Whatever. You can take it or leave it. Okay, so two things. In this range of the piano in particular, yes. And it depends. But in this range, I tried to mostly use this one. My mentor used it because he could reach it with one hand. You know, it's convenient. But when I'm setting a temperament, my focus is here. My focus is right here. I need those to progress. But see, I use minor thirds. That minor third is here. This major third is here. I need all my intervals to progress correctly. I'm still doing minor third, major sixth. I'm doing this as equal beating. I'm comparing these. They need to be close. Sometimes this one's a little slower, but they need to be close. If I set my fifth using just the first coincident partial, on a piano with high inharmonicity, this is going to be vastly different. It'll be crazy different. On my Sommer, I might get on my Sommer next time I do this, but we'll see. On my Sommer, I can tune it slightly narrow at the first coincident partial, and it will be slightly wide at the second. Try tuning a temperament with this fifth measuring wide here. If you're using fast beating intervals, it does not work. It will not work. So yes, I focus on the second. The only time I use the first is, well, there's two reasons I use the first. If I'm having a hard time hearing this, I might use this as a gauge to kind of get my ears back in the game, but this is the final decision. And the other reason is I want to know if there's a big shift in inharmonicity. You can do this with an octave or a fifth. If there's a big difference between this measurement and this one, you know there's a big difference in inharmonicity between these two notes. And with that information, it can help you tune the piano. And what the difference is, you can tell also from the fifth measurement. So if, and see, this is where I get things backwards, so bear with me here. If the narrow three, both, Jacob. So it can go both ways. But on my Sommer, it's a narrow 6/4 and a wide 3/2 on my Sommer piano. But on my Wurlitzer piano, it's what you just said. It's a narrow 3/2 and wide 6/4. I have two pianos in my home that do the exact opposite thing. And that's because they're poorly scaled. They have a problem. And with my Sommer in particular, people have said, why don't you just rescale it? Because you could make it so much better. But if I make it better, I can't show people how messed up it is. So yes, there's mistakes in the scaling. And so it can cause inharmonicity shifts, which is what it has. So now let me, bear with me. And if I get this wrong, call me out. Please, please, please. May, call me out if I'm wrong, if you're still there. If you tune the first coincident partial of the fifth pure and the second measures wide, then let me think, which is the way the inharmonicity goes, then you have a sudden jump in inharmonicity in the lower note. So that lets you know the inharmonicity of this note is higher than this one. And the opposite is then true. If you tune it pure, and I might reverse what I just said because I might be wrong. If you tune it pure at the second coincident partial, and it's wide at the first, then you have a drop in inharmonicity, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'll put it in the comments. Because I say this backwards all the time, and it makes me mad. Because I know this. And I have brain farts about it. It's like brain dyslexia. Get backwards. I could get my temperament strips up here and work it out. I have a video where I work it out, but sometimes I say things backwards. So if I'm backwards, I'll put it in the comments later. Well, as usual, I've done all the talking. But I appreciate y'all coming. Oh, there's more people. Hi, people. Jacob, bad scaling would make that reverse, I think. It can go both ways. Yes, it can make it very bad. It can make it worse. Yeah, May, that's hard to think about. I know, my brain. Oh, my God. I'm going to hurt my brain. Oh. But yeah, so bad scaling can cause jumps or drops in inharmonicity. Good scaling, you can still get drops. But bad scaling, you can get spikes and like more extreme drops. So normally you'd have a little bit of a drop in inharmonicity at your first wound string. And with good scaling, you can get that to be almost gone. I don't know about a small scale piano though. Maybe not. I don't think so. But on like a nice concert piano, they can smooth that out. But you can have a sudden drop in inharmonicity, and it do the exact opposite. I mean, not more extreme of what I had here. Like you could have a fourth pure and your fifth wide or something bizarre. But of course, then you have to go back and check your upper notes, and you may have to move things around. I've just seen so much weird stuff that it's crazy. We're at an hour and 5 minutes. So does anyone want to talk about anything else? Oh, Sean, W. Dean Howell in his book says that if you play F sharp 34 to A37, I don't number things that way. I have to think about it a second. And then play C40, E44, the minor third. Oh, should be narrowed to equal the major third widened beat of 10 seconds. Is this a good test? I don't know yet. It sounds like a good test. I have to play it. Thank you, May. Sean, let me think for a second. Wait. Can F sharp 34, is that F sharp 4 in my language? Minor third, major third, equality depends on the piano. Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm setting a temperament, I can email him. Okay, you can email me, Maggie I'm gonna put my personal address. I like it better, and timandmaggie.net. I'll think about that in a second. So, but if I'm setting a temperament, I'm going to focus on minor third, major third. And if the 610 is way different, then I may compromise my minor third, major third, knowing that I'm going to have to deal with that, overall. Ansi, sometimes I meet pianos that have some very annoying kind of whistle sound coming when tuning the break and bass area, especially on smaller pianos. And any tricks to hide that? Maybe slight voicing. Zoo Flute. Hi, I just got my notification. Hi, I'm sorry. We're almost done. I'm so sorry. Oh no. Oh no. If you're talking about the shimmering, you're probably talking about what I would call a shimmering, a whistling. I've learned to tune that out in my ears. So yeah, I'm going to say maybe voicing, make sure the string is mated. Make sure the hammer is mated to the strings well. Because if the hammer, like if you have 3 strings, how can I do this? Here we go. If you have 3 strings and the hammer hits them, I can't do this, and the hammer's hitting them evenly, you're fine. But let's say you have one that's a little up and it's just barely bumping it. It can trigger harmonics and make a nasty sound. So make sure that the hammer's mating the strings. So you do that by pushing the hammer to the strings and then plucking them and make sure they're quiet. Make sure the hammer can actually dampen all 3 strings when pushed lightly against the strings. And if that doesn't work, clean the strings. Try cleaning them a little bit. Rub them with a rag and let them warm up a little bit when you rub them. And clean them and then let them cool off and try it again. And if that doesn't work, you could try needling, but be careful with that because you can really mess things up. There's a needling technique called, let me get it. Shoot. It has to do with an arrow, a perfect shot. Oh, what's it called? I'll think of it and I'll put it in the comments later. I can't remember. But it's really nice for stuff like that because you can use that technique to needle and it's not permanent. You can kind of see what heavier needling might do, but it'll go away as it's played. And it's really nice to try that kind of needling. I've used it with a lot of success in, needing something temporary. Thomas, how did you get customers calling and how hard is it to work as a piano tuner? Oh, here in Germany, it's not easy to find a job, especially as a piano builder. I would think not. And that I learned tuning and repairing. That's how I make my money, tuning and repairing. Okay, so I live in a rural area. and there are like almost no tuners here. So there's more work than I can even keep up with. So word just spread fast. The only advertising that ever worked for me was a car sign. I put a sign on my car. And when that happened, I got calls over the top. My business took off when I got a car sign. But I don't have a lot of competition. If there's not a lot of competition, try a car sign. Germany's going to be really different than here. So I don't know. But that's what worked for me. Thomas, at some point I want to work maybe 1-2 years in America. Wait a little bit. Work visas right now are funky. May, Thomas, it depends on location, but overall there's a lot of work. Yeah, there's work here. There's absolutely work here. Yeah, some areas are flooded with tuners, like there's too many tuners, but there's more areas that don't have enough tuners. Travel the hammer with pay. Yeah, check your hammer travel. So Sean says to check that hammer travel when you're make sure that hammer's hitting the string square, because if it's coming at an angle, you can get funky sounds too. That's a good suggestion. Yeah, perpendicular to hitting all 3 strings. Yes. Thank you, Sean. I am not the best person to ask for technical stuff. I do this work, but I know so many people who are so much better than me that I don't like answering technical questions if I can avoid it. I know a lot about aural tuning theory, and I love sharing it because angel voicing. That's it. Happy piano. Thank you. Angel shot voicing. That is it. So look up angel shot voicing. If you take it and you come in, you can actually put the needle in right at the strike point, but at an angle. And it can give you a temporary idea of what more voicing can do. And you can also do it in a hurry and a pinch. If you're like doing a concert tuning, angel shot voicing, it's the bomb. So look that up. Thank you. Happy piano. Ansi. Okay, thanks a lot. This has been an interesting, helpful stream. Yay! Looking forward to the replay. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Really appreciate y'all coming. This has been fun. My next one, in fact, there's going to be one more Sunday, but then there's going to be no Sundays for a very long time because I'm going to be working on Sundays. My husband and I play music, and for 4.5 months out of the year, we play music on Sundays, so I can't Zoom. You're welcome. Jacob, Sean, you're welcome. Thank you for coming. My next one will be, I'm going to find it here. When will my next one be? Last Thursday of May 29th. May 29th. Do I have a Sunday coming up? Oh boy. Nope. Maybe May 25th, but I don't know yet. I'll have to announce it. But definitely May 29th, I'll be doing a Zoom for sure. Maybe May 25th. Also, I thought about doing Thursday morning my time, because Thursday morning my time would be evening for a lot of other people. So I might do Thursday morning and evening because I could fit that in my schedule. If I can't do Sundays, because I can't do Sundays 4.5 months out of the year. So Sundays where I can get an afternoon time that's not late. But anyway, you're welcome, everybody. You appreciate my fascination, Thomas. Probably my enthusiasm. Yeah, I get excited about these things. Adrian, hi. Zoo Flute's coming to my piano tech camp in a week. I'm so excited. Wait, you're coming to my tuning camp. Oh my God. You're going to love it, I think. Colleen, thanks for being so thorough. I try. And I'll say one more thing, and then I'm gonna let everybody go. Oh wait, is everybody gone? Everybody's gone. 2 people are left. I'm gonna say this. I fought because it'll be on the recording. Oh God, no. I'm glad you asked that. Sebsi, I don't know how to say your name. Cleaning bass strings. Do not use WD-40 at all. You will kill it. You will destroy it. No. Keep WD-40 far away from pianos and very, very far away from piano strings. Definitely not. May, yes, I will see you there. I'm so excited. So for cleaning the strings, use a dry rag with nothing on it and just wipe them. Rub them. Warm them up. Rub them really good. You'll be shocked at how much dirt comes off on that rag. And then get another clean spot and rub it with that part. Yes, you're welcome, Sebti. Sebti. I'm going to say Sebti. Don't know. I'm trying. I hope I'm not destroying your name. Yay! All right. So Be careful of the top of the winding. Oh, Thomas, this is a good point. Septi, I'm talking about cleaning unwound strings. So if you're cleaning wound strings, if you're rubbing those, careful of what Thomas just said. He said, be careful of not snagging the winding with the rag, because that it will mess it up and you'll have a buzz and it will be nasty. Thank you, Thomas. See, this is why I don't like giving technical advice. I don't always think of these things. One of the things when I started tuning is I couldn't get the information I wanted. Thank you, Thomas. I could not find it. I could not get it. I could not find it. And I tried and tried. And for 18 years, I looked for the information I wanted about tuning. And finally, things came together and it was magic. And so I want to put that information out there that's so hard to find for people about RL tuning. That's the one thing I can do. I'm not the best tech person. I'm not, there's a lot of things I can't do. There's a lot of people way better than me. But the one thing I can do is share what I've learned about RL tuning. And so that's what I'm going to do. All right. Thank you all very much. Hope to see you next time. Bye.